Going to be Hunters banning Lance, who's seen a lot of bans so far today, and it's going to be Lyra as the second ban, leaving open Kestrel. I know Hunters do like to take that, as most people do, on that first rotation, first pick.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is Hunters is banned Lance every single time they've been on the main stage. So,
yeah,
you know, 3 for 3. This is obviously a pick they don't want to play nor want to go against. They do get the Kestrel, very, very strong pickup. So as you go into Red Canids as Hunters, like, this is such an important matchup. We kind of got to see exactly how strong Group D was. This is going to define it in the draft strategy. Flicker comes through.
Yeah, as we were talking about a few minutes ago, if you're going to give up the Kestrel by banning out the Lyra or banning out someone else as your second rotation, you need to have a composition into it. Red Canids will know that Kestrel was going to be picked, or they have to at least have a 99% certainty of it. So I'm not going to be surprised by them playing something like a Flicker, a very aggressive jungler, and then a laner who can do a huge amount of burst damage.
Yeah, well, this is a nice composition to start rounding things up, I would say. Flicker and Koshka, exactly what you want to pair a Flicker with, you know, definitely for that early aggression as well, and against the Kestrel. Fuji, how are you liking this draft phase?
I would love if Hunters threw Rhyme in right now. I'm just going to
Whoa.
toss it out there.
No,
like,
no, I agree.
Whoa.
We see the Kestrel, we see the Catherine. Hunters has played Rhyme in the past to great success in tournaments before. It's the thing to stop Flicker. It's the thing to stop Koshka. They don't quite do it. They bring the Black Feather through. Doesn't quite have the same kind of survivability, but the good thing is he is mobile. So whatever Canids does end this composition with, Black Feather should be able to get through to him, at least if he blocks the Koshka.
Ladies and gentlemen, Vox has been picked up. The first time we're seeing Vox today, adding another hero to the tally that we have seen spread across the team pickups. And a lot of people said they weren't expecting to see Vox, but we're going to see Red Canids bring this one through. High bursty, compare it with Flicker. What are you thinking, Fuji?
I really like the kind of innovative style of the draft coming from Red Canids. I think I'm going to give it to them. I feel like they're confident.
Absolutely, Geek.
I probably think Hunters have it, in all honesty.
Cool, I've got to stop you there because we're going to hand over to Forecourt and Bacon. Take it away.
Well, it seems that the gank squad's going to be activated here for Red Canids because Koshka coming into that, Vox on top, but it's going to be, I think, really Koshka, Flicker. We're going to have to keep our eyes on these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. They said they want to play aggressive. They drafted themselves a composition that can play extremely aggressive, especially in the jungle. We'll see how well they're able to do against that Kestrel because it is going to be Revenger X with the Black Feather going up to the lane.
So I do believe, Bacon, you're the numbers guy here. Queen is at 100% played right now on this Catherine.
I believe so.
So, I mean, that's at least a good thing going here for Hunters. But, you know, Kestrel coming into this one early on, it's really, if it's not going to be a ban, I have to assume it will be that pick. But this now leaves me a question. Will Babala go into the Crystal after this bit and finish it off? This will be a weapon Revenger X? Are we going to see a double Crystal, double weapon? What do you think?
I would expect to see it be a weapon Kestrel with a Crystal Black Feather. But, you know, that's something that we've heard from a few teams. And see if it translated over to the other regions. But right now, Queen going to be taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, that slow is just no joke. And Queen, she does have the boots, and it looks like she might just be able to outpace Mirachik at this point. But now Babala is really kind of left behind, and he doesn't get the trade. Just Suino Farah will actually survive.
Yeah, just Suino was dropped very, very low, but still survived, did not give a kill back over. And nice movements here from Mirachik to go ahead and grab away the Hunter's jungle.
And there's not much that Queen's going to be able to do about it now that she's sort of late to the party. But Revenger X is holding down lane, and with that Crystal now actually accruing here for Babala, we actually could see the reverse of what you thought.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many possibilities that you could do. You could have double Crystal, double weapon, or, you know, the Kestrel Crystal, or the Black Feather's Crystal. But right now, it's going to be Vox taking a lot of damage, but able to return a lot too. And with the help of G Suino, they're going to be able to find that kill.
I thought that actually might be a 1v1 trade. Suino Farah, he was looking to get into right behind Revenger X, but Revenger just saw an opportunity, jumped on top of Urameshi, but by the end of it, it will still be the second kill. Red Canids' early aggression is definitely an MO that they did not lie to us about.
Yeah, not at all. They are coming in fast and furious looking for these kills. They've got 2 of them in 2 minutes. If they can keep that kind of pace up, you got to give them a favorite and to win this one.
All right, so Mirachik here into the jungle, still going to be a little bit more aggressive. He has taken away at least 2, if not 3 camps by now. And 2 kills up, that has put Red Canids here firmly in the gold. And it still could really go either way for Revenger, but he does have that weapon blade to go with it now. We'll keep our eye on Babala, but on the other side, you know, Mirachik, where do you think he's going to go with the Crystal?
Most likely into a Shatterglass. We saw Von C play the Koshka earlier. Queen is going to fall. We did see the Koshka earlier from Von C on Team Mid went for a double Shatterglass build. That's a little bit more unconventional, yeah. But I don't know if we'll quite see that come out from Red Canids, but I definitely expect it to be a Shatterglass first item.
So Jesuino Farah here, he did actually start off with that Iron Guard as well. I was curious after they picked up that Flicker, because they said that Flicker very strong down in South America. They had a lot of confidence with this pick. I was curious to see if we were going to see a Dragon Blood, but it was only that Iron Guard by the end of it. 3.5 minutes in, he's already got that Life Spring ready to go, so he's well on track to pick up, that 4.5 to 5 minute fountain.
Yeah, and I was very curious as to how this game would start, because we didn't get to see Red Canids as they played on the secondary stream. And so we didn't really get to watch them. We saw, obviously, Hunters against Velocity, like they mentioned on the desk. First game was very lopsided in favor of Velocity. Second game, Hunters looked to be getting a little bit of footing underneath them and looked a lot stronger, but were unable to pick up the victory. I don't know how that matchup against Velocity went for Red Canids, but obviously it was another 0-2 in favor of Velocity. That's why they are going through the group stage, and why we have this matchup here to determine who else will get out of this group, or if we're going to have one of those tiebreakers.
All right, so everyone here from Hunters now gathered up into the lane, but you saw a lot of hesitation while we were going on a little bit about that. The lane was staying fairly far back. They weren't really allowing Jesuino Farah to make anything happen, even to the jungle. Babala, just able to come in, saw some danger, just made that exit. They clustered up, and this is leaving Red Canids just to kind of run all over the place right now.
Does look like Revenger is going to be going for the weapon Black Feather, as Mirachik is going to be finding Babylon. That's so much damage.
Yeah, Mirachik is not going to be out of the woodworks here yet, but you can see that Babylon is still using the power of those Glimmer shots. Is going to survive it through. No kills on either side, but some really fancy moves out of the Koshka.
Yeah, absolutely. Using that movement speed to great effect in order to dodge out those Glimmer shots. No kills going over, but jungle's going to be stolen away. We'll see if Red Canids can get anything out of their opponent's jungle. I did want to point out that Ranger X has been doing a great job in the lane, keeping up with the CS of Urameshi. He actually had a lead for a good bit. Urameshi just did a really nice job of closing that gap just in the last minute or so.
Do you think we're going to see something of similar early builds here, because they are sort of making the same angles?
It looks very similar on both sides. A little bit more defense being picked up early on from Hunters, but aside from that, it's looking to be very similar starts for both of the carries on both teams.
All right, so gold, not really a huge amount between them, about 500-600 or so in terms of the last hits. If you look at the jungles, again, very similar, but Mirachik kind of taking a bit more of a lead as time goes on. 39 creeps and counting, but as you did mention, into the lane, it's pretty much dead even. So a lot of the wild card here is Jesuino Farah. If he can make something happen here, you could see a wild swing both sides.
And well, that's a lot of damage being dished out with those resonance bounces. Revenger X is the target, taking a lot. Is he gonna go down here though? Queen trying to make something happen.
Oh, but Queen's just gonna pay for it there. Mirachik coming in. The bounce is enough to get the long range snipe. And with that, it's going to be the A's. There goes that turret on top of things. We have more than enough meat to tank this out. And 6 kills in counting. South America's showing up strong.
And keeping that kill per minute pace going strong as they pick up 3 of them in rapid succession, getting that first turret. And just look at this engagement, just the instant decision to go in. They get some good damage on Revenger X. He actually gets out of this one, but Queen goes a little bit too far forward. The rest of Red Canids come in as a unit and recognize that they have the opportunity to make that play happen, and just very decisive movements, taking advantage of, wow.
Goodbye. Queen down, Babala down there as well. Revenger X hugging that turret for dear life. And okay, that's not what we expected to come into, but 8-0, that just adds more fire, more flame to the fire here, as Red Canids is now just picking up some items. And look at this, 7 minutes in, that's a Sorrow Blade. We got that fountain and some cooldown coming up for Jesuino, so perhaps a contraption in the works.
Yeah, tier 3 items completed across the board for all 3 members of Red Canids. It is that Shatterglass first for the Koshka. I'm going to be really curious to see what the second item is. I feel like that kind of gives you a very good idea of where they're going to be going in terms of just what they want to do out of this game. Are they going to try and end it early like they've said, or is it going to be a little bit more damage picked up to build into towards the late game?
So during the replay, it looks like Jesuino Farah there was able to use the Moon Cloak there. Mirachik has Yummy Catnip Frenzy there on cooldown as well. So it looks like it was a really nice capitalization on a kill. It's a good attempt there for that steal, but immense gold payout secured here as Red Canids is now up 4,000 gold. And as he said, a kill a minute as well. These guys are just hustling.
Nice movement there from Jesuino Farah to jump in front of that one shot as soon as he saw it to ensure that there would not be a steal on that gold mine. The gold goes over to Red Canids. They've got themselves a 4,000 gold lead now, 8 minutes in. They are looking very strong to start this game off.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Contraption as the next item here from both sides. We don't really have too much that Crucible can really help out for. I mean, maybe Mirachik at best, but you know, I think a reflex block for the carries would be about all you need.
Yeah, really the only, I mean, the Crucible would definitely help for blocking the Blast Tremor, but that hasn't really been an issue for them just yet, as Queen is only now hitting level 6. So we'll see if that can be a game changer for Hunters.
All right, so looking for a little bit of poke, maybe not. Urameshi is going to be making that exit. Jesuino Farah, they're just to catch up, but that cloak, I mean, that shadow, it's absolutely devastating to play against. We still don't really have a lot of flares here. Queen is kind of coming up empty on that one. It doesn't have the flare gun there either, but that's the silent. Does actually look like it did a little bit of work, but it's not enough to keep the Kestrel going. And now Queen, she's going to be on the run. Urameshi will actually have the damage, and Revenger X, he's not going to make the same mistake twice. No resonance there to catch him up, and this will now be, so far, a perfect game from Red Canids.
Yeah, second turret going down as well is going to put another good chunk of gold into their pockets, and this lead is just really starting to grow out of control already, just 9.5 minutes in.
I'm not entirely too sure Hunters is used to the level of aggression. I mean, it was almost like from minute 1, they just clear out jungle, they go in, they look for it, and Flicker has been really a big enabler for that here at Worlds.
Absolutely. I've been very impressed with this level of aggression, and not just the aggression, but the accuracy in this aggression. You know, some of the other teams, we talk about the uncontrolled aggression early on, where you never really know if it's going to work out. They are very controlled in this aggression. They are taking fights where they know that they can win. And you know, there was one time where Jesuino Farah was very close to falling, and since then, their health bars have not been terribly low at all.
Using that contraption, that nice shiny new contraption very well here, and setting up a lot of possible ganks. So not only are we going to have sort of that cloak danger that Hunters have to deal with, but now already with this vision, I mean, Mirachik can come over a wall with the Yummy Catnip Frenzy, can pounce through it there as well. As long as that vision is there, the damage will flow.
And we thought it was going to be a contraption coming out of Queen on Hunters. It's actually a Storm Crown that she's building towards.
Huh.
It's,
all right.
I mean, they're trying to get that little bit of extra damage that they need in order to turn a fight in their favor. But like we've been talking about, anytime there's a flicker, the vision game is so important. You know, we heard Fuji talking about the fact that you always want to be moving that line of scrimmage up further. That's exactly what Red Canids are doing here. They are playing a flicker game almost flawlessly. Well, actually, it's literally flawlessly, as they have not given up a death or anything of the sort.
10 kills to 0. We got 2 turrets up at this point. Multiple just steals here into the jungle, and even with this trend, it's not safe. It will actually go over to blue this round. Hunters will secure that gold, but you said it, the line of scrimmage is moving up. We're sealing off access here from Hunters, and the closer they are to that choke point turret, you're always going to know where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nowhere for Hunters to try and sneak out and get into a flanking position or anything of the sort against Red Canids. The one shot's going to come through just to check and try and find, you know, where anyone is really, see if they're doing a gold miner. But there you can see it laid out before you, the vision control. That is all red scout traps across the map.
This is almost game 1 on a platter at this point, because you're several thousand gold up, massive vision advantage going over here, and Hunters, they're still struggling for that first kill. Queen trying to just wrestle a bit more control over to her side, but again, with no flare gun, no contraption, it's very dangerous just to leave that choke point turret, and this is exactly why. Jesuino comes on in. Revenger X, great stun there coming out from Babala, but it's not enough to keep that laner alive. Now Queen is going to be coming down low. Mirachik able to just look for the damage, has the Yummy Catnip Frenzy, dies during it, and we've already lost out the second. All of a sudden, Red Canids maybe bit off a bit too much that they could chew.
Big turnaround from Hunters. Babala, the key to that, got 2 massive active camo stuns during that fight, as we're about to see here. The first one comes up as he sets this up very early on. A beautiful stun, and we're coming out right there. Triple stun. And then as they continue this chase, another one set up, a double stun as he comes back in. Phenomenal play from Babylon.
I'm really actually surprised that Queen did not drop during that one as well, but because she didn't, the Mirachik, he was just kind of like, oh, okay, I got to switch targets. But by then, the damage is already there, and if they had focused down, the Kestrel might have been a very different story, but that's, a really good way to put 3 kills up there for Hunters. And
Mirachik did go for the defensive item as the second item here, building into that Aegis. We'll see this third one could be another Shatterglass, could be, I would expect something more along the lines of a Broken Myth at this point to try and,
be the safe bet.
Because the early game has passed. They don't, especially after losing that ace there, I think that may have put a little bit of worry into their minds of being able to close the game out as early as they would want to. And getting that Broken Myth is just a very strong item for going further into the game.
Well, Urameshi is really just grooving on some sweet tunes. 3 items at the 13-minute mark. That's really impressive here, especially, Vox. First time, Mooncloak's going to go out. Yet they did not hit that trap, and the silence is there as well. Babala is the big target. No real opportunity there for Kester to strut her stuff, but now Revenger X 3v1. Can he even bring down anybody? The only Catnip Frenzy is going to lock him up, and Red Canids put him down. Queen, the only one to survive, and again, that's what that was kind of reflects a little bit earlier. If they had focused Babala, might have been a very different story. This time they learned from it, and they just went straight for the Kestrel.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean they know that that's the big threat. Obviously, with the Blackfeather can be extremely powerful later on, but went extremely tanky after getting that breaking point. I went for the Atlas Pauldron and the Aegis, so he's not much of a damage threat and isn't as survivable as he would be with that Serpent's Mask completed. Once that is completed, then this could change once again because that Blackfeather will become a massive threat, but you still just want to look for the kill onto Kestrel first, no matter what, because Kestrel will always be easier to kill than the Blackfeather will be because of that tankiness. And she's not weapons, so there's absolutely no chance once she gets jumped on that we're going to see those active camos coming out either, Bacon. So 13-3, I mean, Hunter's picking up those 3. It was a breath of fresh air for them, but they still had a mountain of work to do. And unfortunately, this just kind of puts them right back down to that level where it's starting to look a little more one-sided again. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, next fight is going to be about to happen right now. Nice ultimate. They are looking for a fight. The traps are going to spot them, though. Yeah, Babala, again, he's going to be the one to jump into the back, and Jesuito Farah is there as well, just slowing him up. Mirachik able to jump on her face. Queen is trying her best. They will get 1 kill out of this, but Jesuito Farah, he's going to be taking hits here from Revenger. That was a massive execute going through. Mirachik all of a sudden now just thinking, all right, I can do math here. 2v1, not so good. He's going to try to just extend this out to avoid the ace, but I mean, with this catch-up, it's not happening. You do not get away from a Blackfeather. There's just too much slow and chase potential with that kit, and that's one of the downsides. If you can't get the quick kill onto Babala to then turn your attention onto Revenger, you're going to end up losing out the fight because those stacks on the breaking point are very, very strong. We're going to see here, they try and jump in, but they're spotted the entire way. A nice stun off the bat, a really good blast tremor coming out as well. Babala does go down, but by this point, there's already 7 stacks built up on this breaking point. But watch as this fight continues and just how much he gets built up here by the end. That's actually not showing the breaking point stacks that are from the replay because he was at 14 during that fight. Still, 700 damage is 700 damage there, Bacon, and that was a really nice response. So Hunters get some kills, get killed. Now they got some kills again. So they are proving, even though they are this far behind, 5,000 and counting, this will be hopefully a really good push for them. All 3 up with a Kraken now coming down on top of the Red Canids. They will get some footing back into it, but is Red Canids getting outplayed? Are they too aggressive? Is that actually now becoming a negative? I really don't think so. I think it was just a bad spot to take the fight because of those scout traps. Like, there was Vision Down. Queen with that contraption is really being able to counter this flicker now. There's going to be that ult again, but once again, if they try and engage, they're going to get spotted. So the vision has come around for Hunters, and that is what's been really able to turn this game around. The sieging opportunities here between Revenger X there and Babala, especially with the front line of the Kraken. 2 turrets for it, so I will say that this Kraken was definitely a success. That's a lot of gold back into their pocket. There's still going to be a little bit more work to be done here, but Hunters is starting to claw their way back up. Yeah, and I want to see that same shot we had earlier of the pan over the fold because now it looks completely different. Before, it was red scout traps all over the place. You can see on the mini-map.
Yeah,
it is now blue dots everywhere. Queen, once she got this contraption, this game has completely flipped on its head.
So they might have actually been able to reach that tipping point, early on aggression comps. You said it early, yeah, you did say it early on, with that Koshka, right? She was able to jump, use the flicker, they were able to get the kills, but that could actually be days of old now. So 14-6, Red Canids still holding on to as much advantage as they can, but Hunters, they are far from being bottled up now.
The flicker ult used, they're going to get spotted coming in, but they are going to be able to now look for a fight here if they want it.
Babala just nowhere near this fight. Kind of thought this was going to take a little bit of a different turn, and it might have actually been a little bit more of an aggressive Mooncloak, but it's going to be up in 30 seconds here. Jesuino Farah rocking a little bit of cooldown reduction means that they will be able to try again, but it is much harder to find that entrance, and they might not even get that opportunity. Queen has finally caught up. Urameshi is now trying to get into the back. We got Flicker there to peel, but it's not going to be enough. That is a dead Vox. Mirachik now is just going to be eating damage, and the one shot puts her down. This could actually be a win with 8 kills to 14.
And it is looking very good for Hunters now. Again, once they can spot their opponents, when they see them coming in, Babala is able to set up. That time, it wasn't even the setup. They just had so much poke and chase that the Vox was below half health before they even tried to engage onto that fight. It is just so strong coming out of Revenger X. The amount of chase potential, once he gets that on point, if he has that the dash in, leaves that trail behind that allows the entire team to then have their movement speed increased. That's what's winning this game now for Hunters in the late game.
Yeah, their engage has actually become extraordinary, and a lot of the magic is kind of taken away when you can see your opponents coming. We saw this with Snow a little bit early on. Perhaps we aren't going to see it here as Jesuino Ferry finds 2 at that tree, and not really going to be able to do too much else about it, but blue everywhere, those scout traps everywhere. Mooncloak, nope. Urameshi, he's going to run right into that one shot. Does kind of get preempted out of it. Mirachik, he's trying to jump into Revenger X, but Revenger does not care. He's just going to stick into the back line. Yummy Catnip Frenzy, there's no Crucible here, remember, but he's still going to live long enough to get some massive damage done. Queen, however, is going to be the next target, and Babala is on the run. He's not going to get away. Red Canids have finally taken to their former glory.
Numbers over vision is what we just learned from that fight. Babala was so far away from the rest of the team. I actually almost feel like throwing out that one shot may have been what tipped off Red Canids to the fact that he was not that close because of the angle it came from.
Right, yeah.
They immediately jump in after that one shot came down. They go all in on the Revenger X, knowing that Babala is too far away to have as much of an impact as he wants. Get that kill, and a beautiful timed fountain there coming out from Red Canids to enable them to get as much healing as possible and be able to finish off that ace.
I was on the verge of saying that Mirachik actually is just bit off too much that she could chew at that point, but the Koshka did survive, and now with the Kraken pushing through here for Red Canids, it's 2 turrets between them and game number 1, and you can see once more Hunters, they're just unfortunately bottled up here in their base. We're starting to put down some of the scout traps, as much damage as we can get, they will definitely take, because this Kraken is a big threat to end this game. Here comes the Mooncloak here, Bacon, but they will land on top of at least a few of these traps. They're going to find Queen, but that's a silence, not really a 1-2 punch here from Canids, and now Jesuino, he's actually going to be coming down low. He has now popped out the fountain. Revenger on the front line. He's going to be dropping here as well, but Jesuino can't actually turn it around. The fountain is good to keep Revenger up, and the damage into the back line. Reds are going to get ace. The triple kill is there, and they will race this Kraken for a win.
It is 2 on Kraken. This is going to be insane. Who is going to have the speed? Kraken is already on the last turret, though. I don't think they have the ability to win this.
All right, so that's going to be 2 more auto attacks, maybe 3 on that, plus a full Crystal. He's a very slow auto attacker. You can't say the same for Revenger, but they do have to go through this shield. Queen is going to try to take it up.
There's not much damage for Revenger. They're really relying on the Stormguard. This is going to be incredibly close. The turret is finally down. They are on to the Crystal. Who is going to get this one? Will it be Kraken? They are going to win this. They have the damage. Hunters take game 1.
All you need is a Stormguard sometimes, Bacon.
Oh, man. What a finish.
They are not happy about that one.
How could you be?
Like, what just happened?
How can you be happy about that? That was an incredible finish. What a gutsy call from
smile.
Hunters to go for that. I mean, Revenger X did not have damage on this Black Feather. He was
Yet
in the
some.
team fights. It's all reliant on the breaking point. You don't get breaking point stacks off of structures. A lot of that damage was coming from the true damage on the Storm Guard banner, not even the Storm Crown. But they knew the damages, they knew how much time they had, and they made probably the gutsiest call I've seen all day today and get the victory.
I feel like they would have had the damage to defend, but if you're not confident and there's a Kraken on your base, just hoof it. Just go on over, tempt fate, and Hunters get themselves a win. As I said, the Red Canids kind of shaking their head at there. Revenger X had a little bit of a smile on the end of it, and he had just enough damage. A very back and forth game, but again, the kills from the early were way more than negated by the end, and it was something to go, 11 to 15 by the end of it? The 11 won.
Yeah, and I mean, we heard them talking about how, Queen said they want to get comfortable with that shot calling to then transfer it up to the laner, and you got to wonder which one of them made that call. I think that smile at the end,
were both right there,
that looked to show who made that decision. I think it was Revenger X.
It was 11 to 18.
Beautiful game. I mean, what a turnaround from Hunters. They were so far behind. Again, once that contraption came out, they were able to get the vision. They just waited long enough to be able to start winning fights. Then Red brought it right back, got themselves a couple fights, and what a phenomenal game.
Number-wise, on paper, if you showed me this just on a blank template, I would have said that there's no way that Hunters would have won this. But, tenacious, and they did it. So we still have one more to go, so we're going to throw it back to the analysts to get it rolling. And, guys, what an amazing match.
What an amazing match indeed, Forecott. Welcome back to the analyst desk. We do have Fuji and Budget Zekent here on the desk, so thank you very much for joining me. We are going to be looking at this game again and going into another game with a best of two. Now, if Red Canids can win, they tie it up, we go to a tiebreaker. If they lose, they are out of Worlds. The pride of South America, the pride of Brazil, could potentially be leaving at this stage, just like we saw Snow Avalanche did. So, I mean, the pressure's going to be on right now. I saw you two during this game. It was like a tug of war between, Red Canids and Hunters. Hunters over here and Red Canids just like, between you, just like, oh no, they're winning. Oh no, they're losing. And then finally, Sona with his smug little grin was like, ha ha.
It was never in doubt, man. It was never in doubt. It was always going to be Hunters.
Race against Kraken.
Always going to be Hunters. I don't understand where the doubt was, in Fuji.
Comes back on.
Hey.
Yeah, there we go. It has now come back on. We were actually just miming during that time, Anyway,
Memeing, I believe, is the phrase.
I cursed it last time. Anyway, we've got a replay coming your way from that game. You guys can break it down for me.
Oh, well, I mean, at this point in the game, you just let Kraken get to the turrets. You don't go in and fight yet before Kraken gets there. And you see that they're constantly getting stunned up in the active camo. And then the biggest mistake they could possibly make right after this is continuing to attack Catherine when she puts her bubble up. Just leave. Stop attacking her. You're killing yourself. This is something that you can't afford to do. You don't have to make crazy impressive plays when the Kraken's pushing. You just let the Kraken go onto the turret. You kind of fight a little bit, back up a little bit, but overcommitting early there is a mistake we see a lot of teams that don't have great competitive play make.
And also, they were playing against the Black Feather with a breaking point. They were playing these big, elongated team fights, which their composition didn't really play into the value of. Obviously, you did have the Vox coming through, but Koshka not really supposed to be this sort of elongated over and over team fight type hero. So honestly, I think Red Canids should have done exactly what Fuji suggested. You've got the Kraken doing the work for you, force them to put their attention on Kraken, and then they don't put their attention on you. And sure.
I feel it was something that came out in both of the teams in the game, in all honesty, that the team fights were very miscoordinated. We saw it from Gangstar Sirius earlier today. Some of these guys, perhaps it's nerves, perhaps it's just being on the world stage, but the shot calling in team fights and the ability to position yourself correctly, most people are making the mistake straight away and then realize it and try and spread out and try and correct the team fight. But when you get caught out by a Black Feather and by a CP Kestrel especially, and you're all clumped up in a group, you're just going to die.
Anyway, we've got the groups to have a look at now, ladies and gentlemen, so we can see kind of a visual representation of what's going on. You can see Phoenix Armada has already gone from Group A as the first seed. We're going to have a elimination match between Team Secret and Detonation Gaming later on. You can see in the Group B, Hack are actually 2 points up, and it's 1-1 between Team Solo Mid and Gangstar's Cerberus.
That's really exciting, because that means Hack drew with Gangstar's Cerberus in a 1-on-1, and Team Solo Mid and Cerberus really have the opportunity to fight out to see who gets through in that group. If they draw, we're going to have a 3-way tie.
Yes, it's going to have to be a 2-0 to make sure it's deciding either way. This is going to be pretty insane going in Group B. Group C, you can already see that's what we basically found out last series. That will be Gangstar's Sirius as the first seed, Infamous Legion going through as second. And Group D is currently what we're fighting over right now. Hammerless Velocity already gone through, having won both of their matches 2-0. Red Canids need to win this to keep themselves even in with a chance of surviving in Worlds.
We still have 5 teams who can be involved in tiebreakers. This is amazing. I'm so, like, I love round robin because, like, single elimination or double elimination allows you, you have a lower bracket and you get more games, but round robin gives you this opportunity to be, like, surprised by extra games of Vainglory, and it just makes me so excited to know that we might have more Vainglory.
Look at his little face. He's like this. Anyway, we're into the draft phase, and we're going to see Red Canids on Team A, Hunters on Team B. Where are we going to go with this? Are you seeing any extra bans or change in ban strategy coming out for these guys?
I don't think it was the draft phase that should really ruffle Canids' feathers. I mean, Red Canids actually, I think, had the superior draft. They actually just played the game poorly. They got caught out too confident. We're running into active camo traps. Like, these are things you just can't do on the world stage. So they need to stay confident in their draft phase, pick up whatever they think. Like, banning the Black Feather here, for example, Black Feather was actually not a concern for the entire game until a mistake was made by Red Canids that allowed him to pick up some bounties and start snowballing in the other direction.
Lance remaining that 100% ban. They just don't want to play against it, do Hunters, and it's going to be an immediate lock-in for Kestrel for Red Canids. And now Hunters have, again, Lyra is up. That seems to be the pick that they're going to be transitioning towards. They've got a pretty good rotation on this pick phase right now.
Yeah, I think you pick Lyra and then you pick something relatively safe. Sky makes a lot of sense. You can pick someone here who can either be jungle or lane, and then you can react to what Canids decides to choose next.
Best way to play B-side, in my opinion, gives you that flexibility. Then you're going to see this next rotation. What do you want to see fill out with the Kestrel here? What will make a really solid composition for Canids, given what they've seen here on this B-side pick?
Well, A-side is always, you have to play a little bit safer in your draft scenarios most of the time because you don't get the last counter pick. Yeah. So you want to generally do something that's a little safer, has either poke potential or the ability to kite around the sky. You're not going to be able to dive in very hard against Bright Bulwark with anything. That's going to stop a lot of aggression. Suri Strike will reposition Sky away. So going anything like an Ozo, a Glaive is going to be really risky. They do go kind of for the double poke here. This means that Hunters is now open up. If I was them, I'd heavily consider a CP Gwen, Lyra in the roam position. You get yourself a weapon power Sky. You now have a triple poke composition that really shows Red Canids back. They don't go for that. They go for the Koshka. But they got their own strategies. It's not my team, my strategy. Just throwing some ideas out there.
Well, thank goodness it's not your team, Fuji. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, if it was his team, they would have already qualified. So.
Oh,
no, you mean they'd already been knocked out? Oh. Anyway, we love you really, Fuji. Quick predictions before I hand to casters.
I actually like the composition coming from Red Canids.
I think Hunters.
Well, again, the same compositions, the same picks. Take it away, you guys, on the caster desk.
Now, this feels like a little bit more of a repeat. Yesterday, when we talked to Hunters, they said Babala can play an amazing Koshka, and Playoff Beard jumped up for joy. And now, today, so much Koshka has been played, I can just imagine him dancing out there somewhere. But Babala on Koshka, it could be actually the winning ticket here for Hunters.
It very well could be. Or Queen on Lyra. This was another pick that she's been playing a lot of. With this and the Catherine, those are by far and above her 2 most played heroes. So I'm excited to get to see her on this Lyra that has actually been hyped up quite a bit from this Hunters team. But we are going to be getting that the Flicker once again. We'll see if they can make those early aggressive plays.
Nat and Revenger X, he's going to have to deal with Uramashi and Jesuino, and that should be the first blood. Easy peasy right there. That vision is going to have to be something that Hunters will have to keep in mind. But, Queen, she already has, a little bit of scouting now out with that flare. But Queen and that Bulwark, that could actually be something of a little bit more of a stop up here for Jesuino.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you know that they're coming in, just throw down that Bulwark, slow them up, give yourself a little bit more time to react to that engagement. But again, vision is going to be absolutely crucial. That was the turning point in game number 1 for me, where Hunters began to bring the game back, was once they were able to start getting those scout traps down and start knowing where Red Canids were coming from.
All right, so Jesuino Farah once more. Iron Guard contract seems to be a favorite here of his. Will find Queen, does have the bulwark right there, but she's already outused that Imperial Sigil. She was just healing up moments ago, and it's still actually on cooldown another 3 seconds. So if we had pressed the advantage, I don't think they actually saw the heal going through. There it is again. So again, you have these windows of opportunity, and Jesuino, he knows what he can try to push with this hero, and worked out great early game 1. We'll have to see if we can have a repeat.
Yeah, there is going to be a good deal of sustain for both sides with the Adagio and the Lyra, and so it'll be interesting to see what side is able to get an advantage up here in this lane, or if it is going to just purely come down to those junglers.
All right, so Urameshi here in lane. Obviously, well, I mean, I think it's expected that alternating current will be for him here fairly soon, but at the same time, Revenger, it's going to be a weapons guy, so we have a little bit of dancing around available here.
Most likely a weapons guy, and maybe not 2 crystal bits picked up. This could be our double crystal, but right now, a ton of damage using those crystal bits to get a kill, but it's 1 for 1. Hunters have now picked up a second kill. Are they going to get this third?
You're not going to be running away from that Sky. No way, Jose, right there. That's going to be the heroes' 3 kills for only the 1, but they did not get the ace. Marachek actually was able to get up just in time, a little bit too early on, but still 2 minutes in to sweep the 3 kills. It took them way longer in the last round, and Red Canids are almost shut down from the get-go.
They were down by about 11 kills before they got their first kills on the board in game number 1. But right now, able to have a much stronger start here. And this double crystal, I think, is going to be really interesting to see if they can make it work. It's just all about a lot of burst damage coming from them. And, well, it's a relatively squishy composition that they're up against. I think it can work out very well for them.
The Queen with the sustain, we got very likely a contraption here in the works as well as a bulwark. And Revenger, Babala, like, all they have to do is just target down one person using the sustain. Just let them come to them. If Jesuino gets noticed, you just put a forward barrage in his face, right? If you find out anybody else, you got a Yami Catnip Frenzy ready to go. And that's kind of a really cool counter system.
That's one of the things I really like about Sky with Koshka is, when Death from Above comes out, it forces teams to split. Look at that burst.
That was Sona yelping. The burst was real. Urameshi, he just did not see that coming.
Not at all. I mean, you kind of have to know that there's an opportunity for it to happen, but you expect the surprise damage to come out of Red Canids with this composition. It's always the flicker that makes the surprise appearance, but that time just not ready for the Koshka to jump onto him, and forward barrage from Revenger was more than enough damage.
So Fuji was saying, go for the triple poke, right? Get that CP Gwen. But at the same time, I think every time that we look for these engages, as long as we have something of an idea of where the Red Canids are, you kite backwards. You have Queen with the movement speed, right? That AoE, the sustain, the bulwark, and Revenger X is just going to have those forward barrages. That puts a big damper on Jesuino in his engages.
I do want to look at Babala's build, starting with that Pierce. Very likely means it will be the Broken Myth first item, as opposed to the Shatterglass that we've seen on the other Koshkas. So a little bit of a difference in the build path, at least, for this hero.
Well, at least it's not weapon.
Yeah.
That could have been really something, turning its...
I don't think you play a weapon Koshka when you're on the verge of qualifying for day 2 of the World Championship.
You said the same thing about Weapon Samuel from Von C back in the day.
But that was when they were already qualified for Worlds.
Fair enough.
To be fair.
Babala's just kind of getting a bit of a warm reception here. Canids does take her down about half, but we do again have that sustain. So no problem, back up to par, and we have a reflex block now for the Koshka. So if she is going to be going deep, does realize that we're going to have those active camos. We have potentially the Verse of Judgment there as well. That's a lot of power now defensively there for the Koshka.
Yeah, I would expect it to remain individual reflex blocks. The Crucible is really nice for the Verse of Judgment, but when that's really your main concern is the Verse of Judgment, you can let your carries kind of deal with their own reflex blocking, and it will allow Queen to then build into the vision even earlier than you might otherwise with a Adagio on the fold.
The next item then?
I would like to see it be the next item. I don't know if it will be, just because we saw how delayed it was in game number 1.
That's a level 7 infusion coming out.
Babala
is not messing around. We don't need a tier 3. We just need an infusion, and that could actually be a little bit more of an unexpected pickup here from Hunters. So if Canids don't notice it and they go for a fight, they might regret it.
Nothing's gonna happen off that, but I really like that walking past the gold miner and just using a twirly death just to get the extra movement speed to get up into the lane a little bit faster. The
They
little
can take a hit for it.
Man, but it's still, by the time you get up to the lane, even with the extra movement speed, that you've healed up that health just from passive healing. So it's small little plays like that. You know, if they had found something off of it, would have been actually really important.
Poor little Flicker. He just can't walk up to Revenger X. He really wants to. He really does. But now he's already used the Fairy Dust and just kind of baiting out the bulwark, it feels like. Is there going to be an engage here? I mean, Red Canids, they don't have that Versa Judgment. We don't have the Mooncloak here either. So I would expect them to be biding their time, but I just don't see them finding an angle here.
Yeah, Hunters really want to try and make something happen because of that infusion being picked up. If they go another 2.5 minutes, then that infusion kind of goes by the wayside. 500 gold not really put to use. And especially this early on, like 500 gold is important. Obviously later on in the game it becomes almost negligible, but right now that can be key.
All right, so we got the verse. It's ready to go. Mooncloak's now online here for Jesuino, but level 8 for Babala and counting. The experience has definitely gone over to Hunters. They're definitely leading in the levels, leading in their progression into the next one there as well, and that's going to be the first item pickup here from Revenger on top of things. So it does look like Queen. She's actually picked up that flare gun, and this should be all the ingredients for a really good setup here from Hunters, but that's the Yummy Catnip Frenzy and the portals already used and nothing to get for it.
Yeah, really nice block from Urameshi. Both of the carries on the side of Red Canids got very early reflex blocks, knowing that there was going to be this Yummy Catnip Frenzy coming out from Babala. So a great job to block out that ultimate and make sure that there wasn't an engagement onto them.
Uh-oh, his Flicker just in the wrong neighborhood here. That death from above really just kind of curbing where he can go. A very defensive verse of Judgment there from Urameshi Yusuke, but all right. We will just once again reset.
Yeah, so not really much able to happen as a result of the early infusion getting picked up there. It did allow Babala to have a little bit of quicker farm speed, and they did get that gold mine. So it's not a complete waste of 500 gold, but there is going to be that Broken Myth, double Broken Myth completed for the side of Hunters.
All the Pierce. So do you think that these reflex blocks are going to get hit into the Aegis too sweet?
I don't know how early they're actually going to rush it into the Aegis yet. It's obviously you do want that shield in order to decrease the damage coming out from Hunters, but they still want to get their own damage built up as well. I think we may see 2 offensive items and then the Aegis complete.
It feels a little late, but we did actually just get Mirachek into that tier 3. Has that Sorrow Blade almost at the 9-minute mark, but again, went a little bit more defensive. Has had that 6 sins there for a while as well. So again, it's everybody's biding their time. There is going to be a boiling point that they just end up fighting, but there's always a little bit more to grab. Perhaps Queen going a bit too far forward is the key. Uses out the portals, gets to safety. We have the death from above there as well to stop the engage from Red Canids, and they are just kind of out there twiddling their thumbs at this point.
Yeah, Red Canids not able to play the style that they want to, not able to be hyper aggressive, not really finding an opportunity to catch someone out of position. Cool. And there they go, jumping on in.
And Rameshi, he's still holding on to that reflex block. He did not panic. Use it right there. Mirachek has his back up there as well, but again, even throwing out a few of these ults every now and then, nothing has come of it. Now we do got a Mooncloak. We're out hunting, looking for a Koshka, but Urameshi, he's the only one really going to be in lane. Will he actually save out the farm? He was going to get one, but that's it. The Mooncloak. Could this be a 1v1? Babala is really looking for it. Urameshi is here though, and well, finally, a kill happens at the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, that was not going to be a 1v1 at any point, as Urameshi was right there. So they do manage to get the kill, but they lose out on a turret.
Yep.
That's a trade in favor of Hunters.
Yeah, 2v1 in the jungle, but the better trade going to the 2v1 up in lane. So Hunters not a problem. They pick up that gold. Easy peasy. Jesuino Farah is really going to look for a bit of aggression here. You throw down that root, you're inside that turret range, you're going to get targeted down. Queen, no problem. She's going to be here on top of the sigil. Another root to go be thrown out, but that is it for the aggression from Red Canids. They will take a celebratory treant. That's about it.
Yeah, the siege can be very difficult for both sides. Both teams do have pretty strong wave clear. Between the Sky, of course, being able to throw down Death from Above pretty much at will by the time the end game rolls around.
Yeah,
and then, of
seconds.
course, the Glimmer shots, not the best with a weapon kestrel, but they still have plenty of damage to clear out the minions on the side of Red Canids. So this is going to be a much more... This game's going to be decided much more on team fights, I feel. and just trying to find an opportunity. That's what Red Canids is looking for here.
And Jesuino, he's going to be on that forefront. Revenger X is going to dance away. Does have the forward barrage. Again, the kiting is going to be good. Queen is up there in their face, and Mirachik is going to be coming down so low. We do got that first double stun. That's the Koshka now far from her home, and no help to be had there as
So
Hunters.
low.
Oh, Jesuino, he doesn't get hit. He's actually in this, but he gets snared up. Urameshi too far forward. The one shot will not get revenge. Queen's not done yet. Jesuino is the next target, and even with those curveballs being thrown forward, it's still not enough. Mirachik, my goodness, a very bold back right there, but it does look like we will end up at a 1-for-1, but now pushing forward. Hunters could be looking for some damage, but nope, they're done. They're just going to go off into the jungle.
Yeah, the opponents were going to be coming back right away because they weren't killed. They were able to recall. That was such a ridiculous fight. There was so little HP left on the side of Red Canids, but Revengerex just unable to get back into the fight in order to find the kills, and that's going to be a key for them. It was a really, really nice death from above to start that fight off, which is the entire reason why they were even taken down so low and why that fight was so close. And so Revengerex, that's going to be the key, I think, to this game, is those death from aboves, trying to split up the side of Red Canids so that there is a clear target for Babala to try and jump on.
Well, Queen is doing well enough this game. I mean, they're up in gold. This time last round they were down about 5K, but now they're up about 2.5. Queen is looking for that Crucible. Once she gets it, things like the Verse of Judgment are actually going to be things of the past here for Red Canids. But now you can see Babala, he's going to be jumping forward. That's going to be the root. Oh, that was massive. Revenger X just going to go down. He's going to take a bit of a dirt nap there. Urameshi Yusuke is looking for just the 1v1. Babala right into not quite the one shot. I actually thought that was going to be a kill, but the root is going to be good. And Jesuino, all right, not getting the kill. It looks like Urameshi burned her down. But now Queen is the only one still left standing, and that gold lead has definitely lessened.
Yeah, how about another fight in this series getting turned around due to an active camo? It's a weapon kestrel this time, so you know the active camo fields don't last as long. It's a little bit harder to get those kinds of plays, but another massive team stun coming out from Mirachik this time in order to turn that fight in favor of Red Canids.
That was the crits, the damage, the stuns. You know, Hunter's not expecting to lose control that quickly. The road one's actually to jump. It was Babala over the wall there with the pounce to start it all off, but did not work out. So only 11 kills, not quite the kill a minute we were looking for in the last one. The bloodthirst is definitely abated a little bit, but still respectable at 6-5. Still anybody's game at this point. We are going to get the Kraken spawning here. 60 seconds, and there's that Crucible here from Queen.
And Crucible completed, so the Verse of Judgment should not be an issue anymore. They should be able to then use their own reflex blocks just for extra barrier. I do also want to point out, looking back over on the side of Red Canids, 2 offensive items for both carries, now building into those Aegises. So just as predicted there, but Queen's looking for a fight.
Yeah, that's an aggressive portal, but not really too much found out of it. The death from above does actually bring Urameshi down to about half, maybe a little bit less. The Mooncloak is there, and Jesuino, he's looking for a re-engage angle, but it's really only just Mirachik that's not accounted for at this point. Jesuino's still very confident there in that front line. He's going to be taking a little bit of poke. Babala is there, and now slowed up. Does the Koshka actually have an emergency plan? Looks like there's just going to be enough support here from Hunters to keep on going, and I'm not entirely too sure Red Canids will win this War of Attrition.
They really won't. And I'm really loving what Queen is doing here. Whenever a fight even starts to break out, even if it's just poking, puts down a couple of scout traps for that fight. And it's working out wonders for them. They're going to be able to find possibly a kill.
Oh, the death from above actually does put him into that kill territory, but the death from the Yummy Catnip Frenzy bringing down the Adagio low enough to put him into the ground before that verse does hit. That's a great 2 kills there for Hunters. And again, the War of Attrition, the sustain very heavily, I think, goes over to Queen with that Imperial Sigil just healing up everyone. And Red Canids really needed to make that retreat way earlier.
Yeah, they absolutely did. It's once you realize that you're not going to be able to get that immediate burst, you lose out kind of on the positioning, especially with a Kestrel. You really do need to start kind of backing off a little bit. You didn't have the ultimates available that you wanted with the the invisibility that Flicker can provide you. They did have the Verse of Judgment, but it never even actually got to go off as Urameshi was taken down before he was able to get that burst.
All right, so 7 kills, 6, and again, a little bit more of a gold lead going to Hunters. We did just check to the Kraken with the one shot there from Mirachik, but of course, you can see nobody really giving the Kraken time of day. A lot of traps, though. Again, Queen just kind of blown through all of her charges here, just making sure that they can't get snuck upon.
Yeah, she is making sure to hold on to one charge and has flares in the inventory as well, so that they always know where the opponents are. And again, that's such a key with Flicker. Is going to just be retreating here with the rest of Red Canids. And this is one of the things that I have as a big question mark for Red Canids is, can they play well in the later stages of the game? We knew they were very, very confident in their early game. It showed that they were very confident in their early game, but now that their early game was kind of stunted a bit, can they still manage to have a strong late game and turn this back in their favor?
One shot once more, just going to go a bit wide and just continually pushing up against Red Canids. It almost feels like game number 1, just with the teams reverse. Hunters is trying to just bottleneck Red Canids at this point, and if you bottleneck them, it's just like you can just retreat to this minefield.
Yeah.
Like if you push up and retreat, there's no way you're ever going to get jumped on.
Oh, please be careful.
Just we know. All right, are you too far from home, my friend? We do got that bulwark out. He's down to about half. Another flare and a few more forward barrage hits there from Revenger X. We did use out the portals there as well from Queen. So the portals are down, but 20 seconds is not really a big window, so we'll have to see if Red can do it right here. Jesuino is going to get into that back, but the forward barrage actually going backward. That's rather huge. And Flicker, he has now split up the team. He is still alive. There we go. He's finally going to drop Uramesh. He is going to get the stun, but now it's into a 2v1. Revenger X danced all the way around that fight, got into that ace, and this could be a massive push for Hunters.
Revenger X made a great play during that fight. The Verse of Judgment was coming out. A really timely Suri strike got him just outside of the range of it, did not take this burst, did not get stunned, and was able to then finish off that ace. We're going to get another look at this whole fight here. You can see Jesuino was just very low at the start of this. A nice jumping Captain Frenzy gets the stun onto Urameshi, does not allow the Adagio to really get much damage done out. Doesn't get that sustain either. There's that Suri strike, just narrowly getting out of the Verse of Judgment and allowing Hunters to pick up the ace. They get themselves another turret, as that tier 3 turret, the choke point turret, has been destroyed.
And there's the one shot again, just making sure that the Kraken is there with all of her health. And 10 kills up now, 4,000 gold. Hunters, if they take this 2-0, we are going to be saying goodbye to South America.
Yeah, it's, again, unfortunately, one of these two teams will not be able to make it out of this group, but Hunters, they have the edge. They have that first game victory. Now they have the lead here in game number 2. This is far from a done deal, though. There is still very much a chance, but the portal's in.
And we have some Shatter Glasses here from Hunters as well. Their damage output just went right up, as Revenger X cannot sleep on this one. Adagio is going to be the first to fall, and Jesuino Farah is not going to be long for this world. This leaves Mirachik holding the peg, and 3v1, you might be Castrol, but you can't win it out. Not this round. That is a Hunters ace, and Kraken, the game, like there's a lot of opportunity here, but Hunters look like they're going for the kill.
Yeah, they have 20 seconds plus on all 3 death timers with a wave of ace buff minions. They're going to come in. They're looking for the end. They're looking for day 2 here at the Vainglory World Championship.
You know what, Bacon? I think they got it. Even with the reductions coming in, it's only going to be Urameshi. We got lots of ace buff minions, and that will be Hunters redeeming themselves from earlier on. We will see them again tomorrow.
Very unfortunate for Red Canids from South America. A very strong showing. I mean, they looked like they had game 1 in the bag. I think they really took Hunters by surprise in that first game. And, again, we talked about the fact that they were just very honored and humbled to be here. I think having a strong showing like that is really going to do great for them. Obviously, would have loved to have gotten a win, but Hunters able to come back and kind of be the Hunters team that we had heard about, the Hunters team that we've seen in VIPLs, in so many other international events. They're going to continue.
All right, well, Red Canids, it's unfortunate that they're not really able to find, those scrimming partners. They keep getting dodged in solo queue. They told us a little bit about their struggles to find, some competitive scrim partners. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I think it really showed. They just couldn't adapt to the way that Hunters shut them down.
Yeah, it was very strong early game, but just once it got past